Yeah, yeah. Let's turn off that music. How about that? iTunes, be quiet. Okay. Hey everybody. So excited to be here. Hey, big hands. What's up? What's up? What's up? So today I'm doing my first impressions video of Maxim by Lloyd Barnes. This is something that just came out. I think the only thing that has more hype than it lately is probably his other project, Lux. So I'm excited to take a look at this. I wasn't going to buy it, if I'm honest. I wasn't going to buy it, but long story short, came into an extra 25 bucks, and I was like, screw it. I'll get it. I'll check it out. We'll see what it's about. I like ACAANs. Why not? It's here. What's up, Id? How you doing, Bubba? Thank you for being here. It's good to see you. So, let me open this pop. You guys didn't want to hear that, I promise. So, this is just a first impressions video. This is not an in-depth review or a field-tested anything. This is just me. I got the app earlier today, actually. So I've only had a couple of hours to mess around with it and watch the tutorials and kind of get a behind-the-scenes peek at everything and see it kind of work in a couple of trial runs here at the desk. But I've got some thoughts about it. I want to share them. I also want to answer some questions because it seems like on Lloyd's own YouTube channel where he talks about Maxim, there's a lot of questions that have not got answers yet. So if I let this stand as a thing, if you're looking for answers, maybe you'll find some here. If you're here live with me, ask them, and if I can answer them, I will. But this is just kind of my first impressions of Maxim. It's an interesting app. Okay, so I'm no stranger to magic apps. I actually own quite a few of them, and I've spent a couple $100 in different magic apps over the years. And some are good, some are crap. It's just like everything else. But Maxim is interesting. It's, for me, I think so if you're not familiar with Lloyd Barnes, he's a creative magic individual. He's done a lot of work with the big magic release companies. Illusionist it comes to mind. He's already put out an app with any card at any number, an ACAAN, ACAAN, if you're not familiar with that. The effect is you strip down, you say to one person, name any card. And the next person you say, name any number. They say the King of Clubs and 14, without you ever touching the deck, somebody else deals down 14 cards, and sure enough, at the 14th card, there is the King of Clubs, or whatever card they name. Any card at any number. It's also known as the Burglas effect sometimes. It's the idea that how impossible is it that you could have that kind of coincidence? I mean, it's beyond coincidence. It's some kind of divine, whatever you want to call it. It's a miracle. It's kind of the holy grail for card magicians or mentalists, right? And there've been tons of attempts, tons of people over a long period. I can tell you, there's Ice Cold ACAAN, which I think is something that's sold by Illusionist. I know that, just about every card magician and a lot of mentalists have come at this problem in different ways and tried to figure out very creative ways to solve that, whether with scripting or with clever sleight of hand or now apps. It is perpetually an evergreen source to dip your toes into. It's kind of like the torn and restored card. It's something that everybody wants to take a hit at or swing at to try to get. So there's a version that Lloyd put out a while ago called Tempus, which is sold by Illusionist. And that's an any card at any number. And it's a really good one. It's a really good one. The one thing about Tempest is that Tempest is a web-based app. It's not something that you actually download on your phone, on your device. And for me, that was always kind of felt weird. It felt like, well, yeah, what if the website goes down? Or what if, whatever number of reasons, you don't actually own the app. You have to use the web app, and then, it just lives on your home screen. And it's fine. I understand for some technical limitations or whatever and things that make it work the way they want it to work, it has to be that. But it always kind of irked me. I like to own the thing that I bought, and I'd like to be able to have it on my device and transfer it to any device that I get in the future without any problems. So Tempest, while it's to date my favorite ACAAN, there are some drawbacks to that one. It's very logical, very motivated. Maxim is interesting because Maxim takes a different approach. Maxim is something that you download on your phone. It is an actual app that you own. And I want to talk here a little bit about the download process because it's a little convoluted. And I found myself kind of turned off by how you have to get it. So you buy it. I bought it from Vanishing Ink, okay? And then after I bought it from Vanishing Ink, I got a code to download it from Murphy's Magic. After I got the code for Murphy's Magic, or an email to unlock the license key, I then had to create a Murphy's Magic account. And then I could sign in to a place where I could then download Maxim. And then after that was... So it was like all these steps and processes and back and forth to different websites, creating registering accounts, entering license keys, and it was a bunch of back and forth. It was not very smooth or straightforward. And so that part was kind of icky. I didn't like that. I wish it was a little bit... I wish it was just as easy as download the app. Clearly I've bought it because I just paid you $25 for it, and then you get the app, right? Like, but no, there's all these other extra steps, and I'm not sure why they did that exactly, why you need to then go to Murphy's and then get a license key and then enter the license key and all that. So that was kind of weird. So I didn't like that process. I didn't enjoy that. But I did finally get the app downloaded on my phone. I think I can share quite a bit because Lloyd has already shared quite a bit. But it's an actual app. Okay, there it is. It's really cool. Something I did like is that you can enter any stack you want, right? So it comes preloaded with a new deck chased and a mnemonic stack option, but I don't use either of those. I use Cy Stebbins, as anybody who's watched this channel for any amount of time knows. I like Cy Stebbins. I'm sure there are people out there who will, scoff at that and look down on me, but that's fine. Cy Stebbins is easy to get into from new deck order. It doesn't require any real memorization. It is fine under casual observation from an audience. And it's a good known set, so I don't see any reason why not to. So, but I had to put in Cy Stebbins. It wasn't there. But what I did like is I did like how easy it was. Time consuming, yes, but easy to program my own stack into the app. So that was nice. And then you also have the option or the ability to change between set stacks. So if you have different stacks, if you have different decks with different stacks, you say you're at a Magic convention, and your friend's got his deck in Mnemonic stack, you can just switch from whatever stack you're using to Mnemonic stack and then do it with his deck of cards, which is really cool. Or if you have different ones for different purposes or whatever, you can put unlimited number of stacks in any orientation you want. You can shuffle the perfect stack is one that you create yourself, right? That you just shuffle a random deck of cards and then memorize whatever order those come out in. And then you can put that in here. You can do that. The editor is very, very simple and easy to use. I do wish that there was some haptic feedback in some of the menus because you get a lot of, you're not sure you inputted things. Like when you do the stack, when you're inputting the different cards, it'll do it. You just touch the suit and then the value, and you do that for every single card that you want to, and do that from 1 through 52. But there were times whenever I was entering I wasn't sure if it got my thing. And it'll show visually that it accepted that card, that input. But if I had haptic feedback every time I touched a button to let me know, yes, it accepted the input, and then we're on to the next card, that'd be really helpful. I found that myself getting hiccuped a couple of times because I wasn't positive that it was being received correctly. Let me go to the comments real quick and see what we got here. So it's still having problems with the Discord. I'm sorry, Bubba. Talking about violating TOS. I did not even get to log in yet. Would it be wrong to learn how it works and then make your own app? Yeah, probably. Yeah. Unless you got blessings from from Lloyd. I think you should probably talk to him first and then see if it's okay. The other thing I really like about this, and that's something that in my line of work, I do spend a lot of time prepping for shows, like knowing who's going to be at the show. Right, I get hired for a lot of weddings. I'm doing a bar mitzvah tomorrow. All of these different events where they're deeply personal. I'm doing a 50th birthday party later this month. There's all these kinds of things, and I know I'm in a Facebook group where they are promoting the birthday party and that I'm part of the entertainment for that evening and everything. So I get to see a lot of other people's profiles and everything that are coming to the party. When you have that, you have the ability to get information about them, their names, birthdays, those kinds of things, and then you can use that with the app, the Maxim app, because if you know you're going to perform for somebody in particular at an event, the more information you input about them, the more ways you have to personally reveal the ACAAN. And that's something I should talk about, that this big difference between Tempus and Maxim is that Tempus, it's a scroll of a second hand on your app, right? And then it randomly stops at a number. Whatever number it stops at is the number you deal down to, and then you find your card. With Maxim, it's a more personalized approach. You are trying to find as many ways as you can to make it more interesting, immediate, or relevant to a person performing. Because we do, as magicians, we do understand the impossibility or the large improbability of naming a card, naming a number, and having both match up completely at random. It's impossible, right? That we know that as magicians, that's impossible. But in performing different any card at any numbers in the past, it sometimes falls flat unless you deal with somebody who is very analytical or mathematically minded, that can appreciate that, or another magician that can appreciate how impossible that actually is. It loses some of its emotional impact because people are like, "Oh, that's neat." So you'd be like, "This is the most impossible thing in the world. Like you can't not. This is literally impossible that this could happen." But people just, it doesn't resonate with them as deeply. So I think what Lloyd realized that and went, well, how can we make it more personable? How can we make it something that people who are not, the vast majority of people who are not magicians or super analytically minded, how can we present this to them in a way that they care about, something that's more maybe emotionally engaging? And so that's what I think this app attempts to do. It's interesting. There are some things I like about it, some things I don't. I do like at least so far, and this is just a first impressions, it's not a review. So right now, if I'm just going to give you my initial just impression of it, is that it feels like it's almost there. I feel like it's like maybe an update or two from being an app that I'd be happy and find a joy to use. There are certain weird things with the menus. It feels like it's feels like a rough, well, not a rough draft, but like maybe a third draft or something. Everything works. It just doesn't feel as polished as I would hope as a product. But again, it's a software application. It does work. It's just I would have liked to have a little bit more polish on it. Some things that I found weird, and maybe don't know how to do this, but like if you want to scroll through your stack, it only represents as you start to fill up your stack in the application as you're inputting one. I haven't found a way to be able to scroll down to look at other cards that I had previously input. So if you had like an error way back and you wanted to readjust that, which there is a way to touch and hold and move a card to a different place in the stack, you can only do that for the cards that you can see on screen, which seems kind of weird. So I'd like ability to be able to scroll through the entire stack. So that's kind of something that I think should be there. Vibration to haptics to let you know that they got positive on the inputs for a stack would be nice. I'm sorry. I'm just checking the comments here. We have, speaking of stacks, I created the Freebird Challenge just to practice Pharaoh. I don't know what the Freebird Challenge is. Maybe I should. Is that whenever you do card magic to Leonard Skinner? Is that what it is? I'm not sure what that is. Mazel tov. Not to go off topic, but that beard is doing good. Thank you. It's getting luscious, isn't it? It's this is the longest I've had it in a little while. I'm gonna grow it out. I'm just gonna keep growing it. You're gonna start seeing all kinds of crazy stuff. I don't know. This is a snapshot in time. It's like that magnet and iron shaving toy. I haven't even dyed it. Yeah, that's just naturally me. That's just me. All natural, baby. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. You're the second person in 2 days to comment on my beard, so in a positive way. So thank you. I've got a lot of work to do, but I'm getting there. I think it's longer than I ever let it get during the pandemic, even. So, what else can I talk about Maxim? I want to answer some questions for you. It does allow you to perform in different languages, which is really cool. You can perform in a lot of languages. In fact, let me get you the number of different languages that you can change to and perform in. Translations, edit. You can you can use the app in these languages: English, French, Portuguese, German, Hebrew, Dutch, Spanish, and then they also have a place for custom. So if your language isn't there and you want to input your language manually, you can do that. So you could perform in any language, presumably with a little extra legwork. Now, of course, something that you'll have to bear in mind is that I don't think that it changes. It doesn't change any of the menu options language. It just, I think, changes how you the outcomes, or the part where you, if you if you have like two of clubs, I don't know what that is in Spanish. I know it's dos something, but it would change it to that language so that you would have an appropriate amount of letters in the words, which makes a difference in this app because there are multiple outs. There are multiple ways to reveal. There are actually a lot of different ways to reveal a thought of card, and they tried really hard to come up with the best and most interesting ways to get to any number with an interesting premise, or whether it be spelling the name of the card and then getting to that card by spelling its own name, or there's lots of different reveals in there, and I'm sure Lloyd has talked about this at length, so I won't go into a long spiel about it. But it doesn't seem like it changes the in-app language, so that's important to know. But it does change it if say, I live here in Texas and there's a large Hispanic community. If I wanted to perform this for the Hispanic community, I could do that in Spanish and be able to still accomplish the effect, which is really cool. So it is an interesting app. I think it is worth the $25. I think that's actually lower than I think it should be charged at. I think it should be somewhere around the $39, $40 mark, like just about anything else you'd find. But it's only $25, and I think that's a really good price for what you get. You also have the ability to control and change anything you want as far as the reveal. So let's say for some reason, whenever 13 comes up and you want to talk about how to get to 13, you can set cues for yourself on how you want to reveal that, right? So you might say, oh, well, lucky 13, right? Okay, let's do it. But if you have like something that makes more sense for you with the number 13, then you can use that. And you can enter those in and use those as prompts and memorization and stuff. It's really interesting. And what's cool about this, the other strength that Maxim, I think, has over top of something like Tempest, whereas Tempest, you have to interact directly with the phone because that's how you get the whatever. With Maxim, the phone seems incidental. It doesn't seem like it has anything to do with the effect at all. You can use your phone out in the open and use it as like, oh, I'm going to set a timer, or I'm going to get a notification, and there are some presentational hooks for that. And I think they're fine. I think they're honestly just fine. A couple of years ago, I wouldn't have thought so, but I watched a Luc Germain lecture about doing mind reading, but set to time, right? Being able to read three people's minds, but like in a set amount of time. And he talks about it in the lecture where he says, hey, look, it doesn't actually matter. The timing doesn't actually matter, but it adds a sense of immediacy. It doesn't change the effect at all. It doesn't actually make the effect any better you know, intrinsically because of that. But when you add the time element of just saying, hey, we're going to set it like as a personal record for yourself and see how quickly you can do the thing, at least in Luke Germain's performance, it adds an interesting element to it that seems theatrically more impressive or engaging or interesting, even though it doesn't really change the effect at all. I think that this, and I kind of came around to that idea thinking it was like, that's actually a pretty good idea to do it that way. And you get that same kind of thing if you set like a timer on your phone and you're going, okay, I want you to, you know, cut the deck as many times as you can. I don't want to tell you how much time is on the timer because I don't want you to, you know, I don't want you to stress about it, but I want you to cut the deck as many times as you can until the timer goes off, right? Cool. All right. So then it seems like chance, right? Like how many times could you do it in that amount of time, or how many times did you do it in that amount of time that could change the outcome? And it actually does matter from this standpoint of the performance, how many times a person cut the deck and how randomized the deck is when everything takes place. It does add an interesting emotional and intellectual element to it. So it makes sense here. And it doesn't feel like the phone has any way involved in anything that has to do with the trick, which is really cool. You're not actually interacting on the phone at all. You're not having them look at anything or touch anything. You're not trying to secretly get like, you know, an indication of something that they looked at or something, or trying to peek your screen or nothing. It's none of that. None of that. It's so from that standpoint, it's super easy and straightforward. You just lie about what you're doing on your phone. You're not, you know, you're not really setting a timer necessarily, or maybe you are, but it's so well justified in the performance that I for me it seems just fine. Big Hands has a question. Freebird challenge is to listen to Freebird while down stacking a shuffle deck into suits order, then Pharaoh shuffle 8 times perfectly before the song ends. When the solo kicks in, it gets distracting. Yeah, well, it could, yeah, because it's an awesome solo. Excuse me. So I want to answer any questions. I mean, this has been a big thing. Everybody's been really interested in it. It's you know, been the talk of the town for the last couple of weeks with Lloyd's channel and everything. By the way, if you're not subscribed to him, go check him out. He's awesome. Not that he needs the help. He's growing quite steadily all by his own lonesome. But if you haven't checked out Lloyd Barnes' YouTube channel yet, he gives some really cool tutorials weekly. And so they're awesome. And I've really enjoyed them. I've played around with some of the stuff that he's put out. It's great. You should go check out his channel. He provides a ton of value. So please go check him out and tell him I sent you. The Maxim app, it seems pretty cool. I'm excited to dig into it, play with it more. Again, I have a gig tomorrow. I'm working all next week, every day. So I'm going to have chances to actually give this thing its full pace of a workout. And I mean, I can do, you know, 20 performances a day of that, and come back with a real report with you in a week. So if you guys want to see that, if you want to see more in-depth review of Maxim, I would just let me know. Leave me a comment or a thumbs up. Let me know that you guys are into that. You're enjoying this. And that way I can create that content for you if that's something you want to see. I want to make sure if anybody has any questions about it that I can answer this for you right now. It's going to be a little bit of a shorter stream. Got some other stuff going on this evening, so I just wanted to talk about this real quick, hop on and say hello and tell you about it. So excited to get started with it. I'm curious to see. I'm actually going to see if I can film my wife. This is, you know, Lloyd is famous for doing this, doing the magic for his wife on camera. I've done it a couple of times. It's fun for me. Less so, I think, for my wife, who doesn't like to be on camera. But see if I can get like a video performance of that, or maybe at a show or something, and send that over to you guys and get the honest, true reaction of how other people are responding to it. But it seems like a really fascinating app. I think it's worth the $25 as it stands, though there are a couple of improvements, as I've mentioned before, that I'd like to see. Small housekeeping stuff, things that are easily provided in an update, and I hope this will be updated and improved over time to make the user experience just a little bit more slick. But it's a good app. It works. Be ready to set some time aside though for the tutorial, because the tutorial is extensive. There's about a 2 hour video of it's part 1 and a part 2, 2 hour video plus an introduction plus some trailers and all that kind of stuff. So it's a very long set of video, which goes into everything in good detail. But I feel like there's maybe more fluff there than really needs to be there. I wish there was just like a quick cheat sheet, like boom, boom, boom. If you own any of Mark Kirstein's apps, you can go like to the overview, and you can get kind of a sense of boom, 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 boom. These are the story points. Let me see that real quick. Let me see how this works in performance. But it's just really quick and to the point. Hey, Ken. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you. So you don't get that with this. There is that sense of like, okay, while I appreciate that you guys have gone into a lot of depth to make sure you talk about this and give it its room to breathe, the tutorial did feel like it was really long. I mean, it's like watching Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, but with less action. It's like, oh my gosh, this is a lot. This is a lot to take in. It's not that it's complex or difficult to understand. There is some planning and routining. You'll have to do some practice. You'll have to do. I don't think that if you are a beginner or even intermediate magician, this is something that you can just pull out, buy and then be doing 5 minutes later. It does require some experienced planning to figure out how you want to do it the best way. Just out of the box, I think it's not quite ready to perform. It does need a little bit of, you need to give it its time, right? Which is true of any good magic trick. You got to give it time to either practice it or flight test it and see what works and what doesn't. So you're gonna be refining and fine tuning how you perform it for you. After every performance, you're gonna probably find something you want to change or add or take away or whatever. But it's the most emotionally engaging, interesting version of ACAAN apps that I've seen so far. I'm excited to dig in, learn more, and if you guys want me to report back, I certainly will. I'll know if you want to see a deeper dive or a review of it by thumbs ups or comments in this description below, or in the comment section below. That'll help a lot. I want to thank you guys for tuning in tonight. I will be back pretty soon with some more pre-recorded content, some more live streams. I've still got to do a couple more reviews and then finally get back to some tutorials, but I'm just under a mountain of first impressions and review videos right now. Trying also to get back to Friday night live streams. Don't know if that's always going to happen, but I will try to live stream at least once a week. Stay tuned to my community page or Discord, except for it. Sorry, Bubba. So that way you know whenever I'm going to go live. That certainly will help. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you all being here. Look forward to seeing you all really soon. Cheers.